Hi everyone, I'm super excited to host all Lakritz. He's CEO and co-founder of StructShare, which was recently acquired by Trimble. So first of all, congratulations on the acquisition, and I'm super excited to host you on the show and talk a bit about your journey.
Thank you, Mayur. Really nice to invite me. Thank you.
Amazing. So, or take us back to your college days and what are the things you did until till this date, which would be your highlights?
Sure. So, first of all, I'm originally and I'm an Israeli. I'm from Israel. So, I didn't do college. We start with doing like after high school the army. So I've been 5 years in the IDF. After the IDF, I went to travel in South America for 7 months, doing a kind of a backpacking trip. Then came back to Israel, did a bachelor degree in computer science and psychology in Tel Aviv University, during with which I started working in like my first year. So started as a software developer, then worked as a strategic consultant, actually a lot working with early stage startups and aspects of product marketing strategy, business planning, storytelling, etc. And also worked with large companies and aspects of digital transformation. And I was really passionate about the digital transformation and disruption space. So decided to go to my own entrepreneurship journey. And that point, I met Eric Davidi, who is my co-founder. He actually started StructShare from his a lot of experience in construction. We joined forces and we started StructShare.
Amazing. I'm kind of curious, what was your like South America travel experience? Because 7 months backpacking, so many like learnings, culture shocks, and everything. What would be your like the best memory?
Yeah, so it's very common for Israelis after the army want to, peace of mind and have some freedom. So I specifically went alone with a backpack. I was a lot in nature, meeting a lot of interesting people, going to parties also. Uh, yeah, and learned how to free my mind and to focus on things that I like.
Amazing. In coming from the computer science background, you were learning about the construction industry and from your co-founder. What were some like surprises about knowing this domain, which is like this sounds like this industry is like living very backwards. Like this solution should have been built already. Like what were some revelations?
Yeah, so I think that something that in the beginning, I always, as a kind of a strategy and product-oriented person, I always ask my co-founder, how does it work generally? What's the common practice, etc. And he always told me, in construction, there's no common practice. Every contractor works differently. Every engineering firm works differently. So it was challenging to find always, the common domain in things between contractors in order to build the MVP and the beta product. So that was an interesting learning when coming, entering into this industry.
I see. And in the early days, what was the core idea? How did you build MVP, if you can share?
Sure. So actually, when we started, we came from the data. So Arik has built a kind of a data collaboration platform for construction, and then we identified how much data specifications about materials, and then that what made us investigate this specific, niche in this big industry, the entire procurement and supply chain and material space. So in the beginning, we kind of started with our vision, which is a data-driven procurement kind of marketplace for construction. But really early, we understood the industry is so back behind and so offline in their entire processes. So we looked for the pain that we can solve very rapidly in order to get into our target audiences processes. We called it a Trojan horse, and that we identified the communication between the field and the office around purchase orders. So actually, our first MVP was building a combination of a mobile app and office app that streamlines the field requisition and purchase order for specialty contractors.
Wise. And during those days, like, what was the most difficult part? What was keeping you up at night?
Oh, wow, man. So when we started, it was like almost 8 years ago. When we started, construction tech was very early in the evolution. Contractors, especially the specialty contractors, weren't looking for software as an approach for solving their pains. So I think the first very challenging thing was to find customers, prospects that would want to work with us, to click a button, to be beta customers. That was by far a very long and hard process in the beginning.
And like startup goes through like a lot of ups and downs. So in the 8 years journey, what would have been the lowest point?
Oh, wow. So I think when you ask founders, the experience is a lot of downs and downs, and maybe there is up in the
At the
at some
end of
point.
the tunnel.
Yeah, exactly. But I would say that we had a couple of points in the journey where we were very close to, to be out of money, and we were, for example, in COVID, we had already a signed term sheet by 3 out of 4 investors, and because COVID went through. The fourth didn't sign, and then the entire round wasn't accomplished. Fortunately, we were able to bring the money, but that was a very, very difficult and low point in our journey.
Yeah, like you already imagine, okay, it's coming, and suddenly you see like, oh, now, like
Yeah,
for months,
absolutely.
you
And we
are
had
clueless.
to Yeah, and we had to, lose, like, kind of lower our entire salaries, some employees to go half time. Again, fortunately, we had a very close and strong team. Everyone believed in what we do, so everyone stayed, but it was a really difficult part in the journey, which, again, when we're looking back, so it's always about the resilience and being and really believing in the opportunity and in the team and in what you do, which keeps you as founder, co-founders, and the team up and continue running.
I see. And what has been your proudest moment?
Proudest moment, wow. I think there were a couple of strategic partnerships and investment that we closed, which was kind of um, first time for either an Israeli company or in the industry to bring a very big player, in very early stage. I think at the end, we're proud about, the end result, acquiring by a very significant one of the leaders in the industry and being able to continue our journey under their umbrella. Yeah, and launching a product, having a first customer, really paying for something that you and your team have built, also is a very proud moment.
Yeah, like acquisition is like another whole podcast in itself. Like just because I was talking to another founder and the rigorous like audit they go through and like checking the IP, technical code, and like that's also like people say it's good time, but like pre-acquisition process is also like stressful and a lot of time consuming things. I want to know your thoughts where like Paul Graham says early stage you do things that don't scale. What would be some of those kind of things you did for structure?
So just to make sure you're asking things that we did that don't scale at all, and okay, so yeah, we have a we have a lot in our story. I think I'll choose at some point we decided to take all the data on our platform and build a dashboard for the customers, and we didn't have like enough resources, for all the other priorities. So what we did is that we had someone manually exporting the data from the system, building the dashboard and publishing it, and doing that process in the beginning every week because that's what we committed, and then every day. So that was
Mm.
that was a really crazy manual process we continued doing for a long time.
That's interesting. And if you were to share like a playbook, if you were to start a new construction tech company again, what would you do? Like step one to step 10 uh to for the startup?
Wow, that's very, very hard question to answer. I don't want to like I don't think there is one answer. construction tech is a very hard industry. I think we did so many mistakes. When I talk with early stage founders, first timers, especially in contact, I especially talk on what not to do rather than what to do, because each one has its own, its own venture, target audience, and journey. And also each founder needs to go, through according to his strengths and weaknesses and journey. So I won't say I won't say I know the playbook. I don't think there is a playbook yet, especially in construction tech, where the market is still evolving and not in a place. I think that even the most successful companies has a successful playbook. I would say what I recommend not to do is to not run too much fast in regards to, like, you need to pause and to think all the time. Are you in the right direction? Are you really solving the right problem to the right audience? Adjustments and anecdotes in constructions and different subsegments. So it's really easy to go through, like, to go to a rabbit hole and to think that you're in the right direction, but actually you are not. So a lot of people say that a startup journey is a marathon. I would say it's more like an intervals where you need to run, to think, pause, then run, then pause, then run, then pause, then run, and to think every time if you are in the right place where you expect, if you're really in the building the momentum you need to build according to the stage you're at.
What was the most expensive mistake you did?
The most expensive mistake we did. I think that at some point in the journey, we were thinking that we achieved product market fit. So we spend a lot of money on sales and marketing, both on a team and campaigns, and building an entire really great motion. And after a few months, we understood that we are not in the stage that we are at, that we thought we are, and that it was too early to spend all of this on the sales and marketing. So we had to, again, to do this pause, and to change the focus and priorities and where we put the resources.
I see. Can you double down on that bit? Like, what are the indicators which made you think, okay, I think we have put more resources in salesman and marketing, it's not the right time. Like, what
Yeah,
were the common patterns?
yeah, sure. So what we looked at is that we identified that we had a very good conversion rate on the sales. So we had a 40 to 50% conversion from a demo to actually closing a deal. But again, it was when we didn't have such a really crazy big pipeline. So in the small number, that was successful. But what we didn't focus enough is on, the retention and usage metrics on the product. So maybe there was a misalignment that we kind of didn't put enough weight on.
What has been your experience about hiring in construction tech startup? Any wisdom?
Yeah, so I think that currently, in the industry, we have a couple of incumbents where there's a lot of potential hiring from those incumbents that has the experience in construction tech. So I would say that my main insight that is that, from one side, bringing someone that has the experience in construction tech could be helpful, and could be valuable, but it's not always the case. You need to think through and to understand what stage you are at, and to make sure that the fit with the specific individual, even if he was a great, leader, or great, or has a lot of experience in those big companies, it's not always a good fit for the startup scenario.
Hard. Because I also hear like if they are from experienced incumbents, like if they are doing enterprise sales, they could charge like $150,000 or 200 to, and for startup it's like big amount. And okay, you can pay some equity incentive, but maybe if you were to bucket for enterprise mid market, how do you do about hiring and how much one should spend without spending a lot?
So I would actually say that I think it's not always about, how much it costs. I think that Sometimes it's better to pay more for a great fit individual rather than pay less, because then the entire process of hiring and doing that mistake, because you kind of saved a couple of $1,000s in the year, it's not always worth it. I would say that I think it's an overall picture and not only about, how much the candidate costs.
Nice. And like, if you can share, what was the geography and the type of clients you were focusing, and how did you distribute your team? Because some founders like want to know, like, should we do based on our own country? Should we set up some team in US? How do you do that?
Yeah, sure. First of all, so we built a digital procurement platform purposely built for specialty contractors. We started from the beginning in the USA, in North America. So that's where we focused. In the beginning, when we just started, Arik and I were flying every time from Israel to the US to make sure we are close, very close to the customers and to the industry, and we build our network and we know the customers and know everything, went to job sites and offices, etc. And at some point we actually flipped and I practically lived in New York, not really officially because I had my girlfriend, today my wife, in Israel, but I've been a lot in the US, between 2 to 3 weeks every month for until COVID. So I think it's really important as founders, especially early stage, to be very close to the industry and to the customers. Back then, it was before COVID, so before even contractors talked on Zoom, it wasn't common at all to do something like that. So you had to be very close. Today, it's a bit more, more flexible. But I would say in early stages, it's very important to be very close to the market you are at. The way we built and distributed the team, so actually we had the R&D and product leadership was in Israel. Once we had the first, even couple of beta customers, we hired a US employee that will be, on the ground and would be able to support them and to work with them and to get feedback all the time. And when we grew, we built it in a way where we had the product and R&D leadership in Israel. We had developers and QA in East Europe, in Ukraine especially, and we had the sales, marketing, and customers operations in the US. And also my co-founder, who led the sales and marketing, moved to the US as well at some point.
This is really helpful, like you breaking down, because a lot of people are in the dilemma, should we take a visa and stay like 6 months in US and 6 months there because of the limitations there. So what's the best strategy in those days? And so all like I guess the early days is you build the first set of intros through LinkedIn or referrals. You meet those customers in person, build that trust. So those I think comes into like early founder-led sales where you saturate the whole your network. What's in the next stage where now you want to target customers which you don't have the first contact?
Yeah, so at that point that we feel that we're kind of exhausted our capabilities, both because we are not sales experts and because we don't have the reach. The US is very big, so we hired a first um, underground sales person, professional sales person from construction tech. So by then we really built a great network in the construction tech industry. So we had like direct access to individual candidate that knew about StructShare and were interested and passionate to join. So the first thing we did is really bringing someone that knows the industry, that has the experience of how to talk with the contractors, how to sell them. We were in the beginning very focused on the SMB, so we took someone that was known as expert in that.
Got it. Apart from like in-person meetings, what's the other channel that works best for construction tech startup? Is it email, cold calling?
Yeah. So, first of all, like in-person meeting for, for sales after the first step, it's not really something that you can depend on, especially if you are, in the SMB, more in the low mid-market SMB space. The deal size, you can't, can be worth for a in-person sales motion. And also, I must say a disclaimer that go to market in construction tech in AEC is very, very hard. I don't think that anyone has figured it out yet, like other industries where there's a playbook, this is how you do. I would say that what was successful for us is email reach out and sales motions, sometimes with joint campaigns, marketing with partners and things like that.
I see. Depending on the ICP and the persona, like if you're targeting on site, sometimes they are not so much active on email, like cold calling or messages work. If you're targeting a people who are doing software and other like in their office, emails work. So it's as you're saying, like there's no right channel. It's just like it's very custom.
Yeah, it's very challenging in construction tech. It's not it's still in a place where um each company is doing its own, strategy. There are, of course, a list of things that could work, but it's really dependent on the persona, on the specific target audience, and the solution that you are providing, and the pains that you're solving, etc.
Is there anything you wish you would have done differently?
There's a lot of things I wish I would have done differently. No, I'm joking. From one side, our journey is our journey, and we are happy about what we experienced. I think that as a founder, one of the things that I would have done differently is the funding strategy. So we were really in the beginning, we were running and really kind of running after money all the time. After fundraising, it was again long time ago. So it was really also in the early stages of construction tech funding. Not a lot of investors, not a lot of corporate VCs, not a lot of accelerators. Um, the evolution of the market back then was very early, so it was really hard to raise. We were like, it took a couple of years from when we started that we really had a decent round that we can plan ahead and work accordingly. And that made us take a lot of short-term decision and really focus on short-term results, etc. So today I would have, focused on building the strategy and the steps and understanding the exact milestones I need in order to achieve that, and not working backwards, like trying to get the money and then understanding what are the results and then trying to get the results and pursuing that cycle all the time.
You're sharing so many like good insights. Thanks for being so like transparent and honest. So what would be some tips like for construction tech founders listening about fundraising you would like to share?
I think that again, when I'm looking at construction tech at the point the industry is at, I think again the funding, the early stage, very early stage, pre-seed and seed funding is still very, very challenging because everyone understands that the challenge in construction tech is not the technology, is not building the right or the best technology, but it's achieving a product that is really has a good fit with the specific target audience that you are addressing, and also building proper go-to-market motion. So everyone, it's really in the first stage, it's really hard to convince or to demonstrate that. So you really need to, to have this built out story and to know what is the story all the time. When I say story, it's not like a fiction. It's what's the narrative, what you really believe in, why is this, fit for the customer, how you are showing the signals that it's a good fit for the customer, and how you are also providing a realistic story of how you are going to achieve the milestones that the investors will believe and be confident that you are going to achieve those milestones that will get you to the next.
I see. Is there anything which like we haven't covered in this interview and you like to share your perspective or viewpoint on?
I think that the only thing I would say is that construction tech from one side is again, because of the point in the evolution it is the ecosystem is at, it's from one side very challenging But from the other side, there's so many opportunities and pains to solve. And as an industry, the people are very genuine. And once you work with them, there's actual people and actual pains and so much opportunity to help and to promote a very big, impactful industry in our world. So, although it's challenging, if you are passionate about solving big problems and you're passionate about problem solving, that aspect, it's a really exciting industry to be part of. And of course, if you're looking at the monetary opportunity, it's a crazy industry with a lot of gaps, and it's only the beginning for the industry, to the future.
Yeah, like I often hear like this so many opportunities or problems to be solved, but sometimes I feel not all the problems have good monetary, like people say, okay, do this. And then when you're in the early stage evaluating ideas, then you could work on a wrong problem, which might not be like fundable or unicorn worthy idea. So how do you now evaluate, okay, out of the 10 problems someone shared, which one is like good, like opportunity and outcome fit?
Yeah. So again, I don't want to act as an expert. I'm sharing my own perspective. I think that identify exactly what is the ICP and being very laser focused on this is the specific target audience that I'm focused on, and evaluating that specific, TAM, and not talking about all specialty trade contractors or all contractors. There's sub type of constructions and type of trades and locations, and sometimes it's really regional. So I would be laser focused on what is the serviceable market that I can reach in the first, let's say 5 years, and not take the entire industry and say, okay, a solution for GCs, and I have 10,000 GCs in North America, so I have a very big market.
Mm. One more thing, like I know acquisition stories comes with a lot of NDA. So from what you can share publicly, how has been your experience? And if a founder is thinking, I want to build a company to exit or to get acquired, what are the systems in place or what are things they should consider beforehand?
So again, I think you said in the beginning we can do a big episode only about that. The process was very focused. Like we there was an opportunity, and the market was in a point that there is an opportunity, and a couple of players that was relevant. I think that the focus. I think that when you start such a process, either if it's initiated from outside or initiated from the inside. Um, it's kind of like fundraising. You should know the story. You should build it out before. You should know why potential acquirers are going to buy you. If it's because of your product, because of your go-to-market motion, because of how great team you are, about your technology, and after build like coming and being very solid and confident about why is this a great opportunity for the other side, not only why is it a good opportunity for your team.
I have a rapid fire round where you got a 5 to 10 seconds to answer the question and you got to keep it super brief.
Okay, let's go.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant, burgers in
Which city is in your travel bucket list?
which city? In Nepal. I love Me and my wife, we love to travel the mountains.
Everest or like
Yeah,
Kathmandu?
in
Okay,
Everest.
amazing. Any book or movie which made a big impact in your life?
So actually, I'm very bad in reading books. I'm reading small pieces of information and listening to podcasts. So yeah, I don't have any specifics for that top of my
And like
mind.
your favorite podcast, your go-to?
My favorite podcast, there's The Founder, a podcast called The Founder.
3 words your friend would describe you as.
3 words? I think people are saying that nothing can stop me.
Like, am I in the characteristics? How would they describe or as like hardworking or like,
Wow, that's hard. Resilient, kind, and friendly.
if you were to teach a course in university, what you would like to teach?
Entrepreneurship.
You are in your 60s and you have freedom of time and money. How are you spending your day?
Helping other people fulfill their ambition.
Who would be a mentor or coach you would like to give a shout out?
My wife is teaching me a lot about empathy and emotions.
Advice to 18-year-old or
Always be kind.
all right, I think that's it for the show. It was lovely hosting you. So many interesting insights and stories you shared. So
Thank
thank
you
you.
very much. I really enjoyed. Thank you, Mayur, for inviting me.
Amazing.